Okay, good evening. We're up to Chav Zayin Amid Beis, and we're in the sugya of Simanim Deraisa Derabanan. So we concluded that what from a pasuk that l'chor Simanim Deraisa. We said Simanim would be le'inyan Yeridea regarding an Eish and a get, and regarding the woman dying and accepting testimony based upon on Simanim, because to go ahead and for Dine Dirabana, Dine Mamanis, you do not need it to be Deraisa. The Chachamim have the ability to go ahead and be mafkir your money, Hefker Bes and Hefker, and using that tool, they in fact do that. So even Simani Dirabanan, you would return money with Simanim. The Gemara goes ahead and asks why they went ahead and did Hefker Bes and Hefker, and we concluded because the person who gives Simanim would be happy that somebody else, he finds something that other people, could take it away from him, because when he loses something, he wants to be able to go ahead and give his simanim. So therefore, you see that his happiness, what he likes, right, affects something. So the Gemara now goes back to something we discussed in Shnayim Oichsen. Rabbi Elahadit Nan, you're telling me that the Chachamim made a din of Hefker Bez and Hefker based upon a person's ratzin. Elahadit Nan, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Oimer, Echad Haloiva Mishleisha, if you find a star that three malva to one loiva, so Yachsel loiva. Shleisha shloiva mina echad, Yachsel malva. If you find the 3 stars made out to a malva, you return it to him. Now, the havamin of the Gemara is you're returning it because of simanim. The havamin of the Gemara is, guys, is you're returning it because of simanim. The same way you're returning what Aveda, you're returning the shtaros. That's the havamin of the Gemara. So therefore, the Gemara says you're telling me that nichalei that it's returned. Nichalei leloiva laduri lemalva. In that case, is the loiva happy that you can return it to the malva? Of course, he's not happy you can return it to the malva. So again, based upon this hafamina that you're returning it because of simanim, that destroys your reasoning that you said. That's why the Chachamim instituted Hefker Bes and Hefker. So Amalei, so he told him, Hasam Svarahu. Over there has nothing to do with simanim. It's a svara. Echad aloiva mishleisha yasel loiva. The gabi loiva shchichi. Who's going to have the shtaris of the loiva? Obviously, it makes more sense to say that if you have Fred has 3 shtaris that he borrowed from Mo, Larry, and Curly, right? So Fred it must be in Fred's possession, right? Gabi malvalish yasel loiva. The gabi loiva shchichi. Gabi malvalish shchichi. Shmami no mi loiva nafel. However, shleisha shlava me echad. If they borrowed from one person, yachsil malvet, the gabi malve shchichi, gabi leve shchichi. So it had nothing whatsoever to do with a person's nichale that a person's happy with. Good. So that's now the Gemara, but continues to challenge. Again, we're challenging this idea that the Chacham instituted Hefker Bes and Hefker because nichale that just like it'll return to me, just like if I lose something, I can give simanim. If I lose it, so too I give simanim. Elahadit nan. Matzah tachrik shel shtaris. Again, we saw a tachrik shel shtaris, the bundle of shtaris, or a good shel shtaris. You might remember, guys, I was rolling up tissues, one on top of the other, or top to the bottom, right? That's the difference between a tachrik and a good shel shtaris. How is a yachser? Now you return it. Now again, the hafamina is returning it because of simanim. Now hachanami denichle leloiva laduri lemalva. So therefore, this kasha goes ahead and destroys that idea of just because person nichale, therefore the institute Hefker Bes and Hefker. El Amar Rabba Simanim Deraisa. Says Rabba, the Simanim are not the Rabbana, not Hefker Bes and Hefker, Simanim Deraisa. Not Hefker Bes and Hefker, Simanim Deraisa. Dichsev, Vayimcha, and this Aveda which should be with you, Ad Rosh Hachicha. Right. The exact pasuk. The exact pasuk is V'imloi Korav Echicha Elecha. If he's not close to you, V'lo Yedatoi. You'll bring it into your house. It'll be with you. So your friend seeks it and you return it to him. Now it's kind of counterintuitive that he seeks you'll return it to him. And before that, you wouldn't return it to you wouldn't know who to return to, right? Of course, until he seeks you. That doesn't make any sense. Is it possible to think you can return something to somebody before he seeks it? Ella, what does it mean? What does it when you dash in the word dasheyu? And Ella dasheyu im ramayu. Go ahead and check him out of his ramay. This is a pasuk in the Torah. And how are you going to check him out? Oyena Ramai, Lav v'Simonim, Shmamina, that's Simanomat are deraisa. So if the Simanim are deraisa, this would be the source. Now again, Simanim deraisa, the main thing is not for Dinei Mominus. It's not for Dinei Mominus. Again, even Simanim derabbanon, we can figure it out. The main thing with Simanim deraisa is for Eidus Isha regarding the Matar and Eishas Isha by get. Amarava. Imtim Salem is Simanim deraisa. A very, very strange thing. You just brought a raya that about Simanim deraisa. Now you say Imtim Salem is Simanim deraisa. It's kind of, right? It's kind of funny. What are you saying? Imtim Salem is
Raya wasn't. We brought this raya earlier.
yeah. So yeah, right. Yeah, it's not ironclad. It's not ironclad. Right. It's not ironclad. Right. It's not ironclad. Right. It says the Gemara Imtim Salem that Simanim deraisa. Imtim Saloima hapashal Simanim deraisa. What do you mean Imtim Saloima? You would just push it Simanim deraisa. Because we can slug it up like what? Like we did. Guys, why did we say that not with Simanim, but with Eidim? Look at Rashi says one word, guys. Want to make a lading on Rashi, guys? Kiddush Shaninon, fourth line down. The Eidim. That we slug this up on yesterday's daf. So in other words, so Imtim Saloimar, if you're gonna buy into this, right? Again, you're not locked into buying into this because why? Because in fact, what it could be with Eidim. Eidim, of course, you're going to return something, right? So therefore, maybe Simanim are derabbanon, and you return. And here you're going to have Eidim whether it's Ramai or not. Now the Gemara now goes through a whole bunch of scenarios of two people making a claim. Who do you return it to? So two people show up. You announce there's an Aveda. Two people show up. Simanim b'Simanim. They both give the same Simanim. One's not more clear than the other. They both give the same Simanim. Yaniach Simanim Yaniach. You leave it over. No, it's like Achiyava Eliyahu. You go ahead and you don't give it to anybody. Simanim ve'edim. A person shows up with Simanim, and the other person has edim that it's his. Sila bala edim. Edim will always be stronger. What? Even with Simanim deraisa, guys. Even with Simanim deraisa, edim will be stronger. Even with Simanim deraisa, edim will be stronger. Simanim ve'simanim ve'edachad. You have two people with Simanim, and one is supported by an Eidachad. And we know an Eid Echad is not believed. When it's Dinei Mominus. So therefore the Gemara says Eid Echad command the less Adam. He doesn't exist at all. And therefore if he doesn't exist at all, he doesn't help you at all. It applies Simanim is Simanim, and therefore the din is going to be Yaniach. Eidei Ariga ve'eidei Nefila. You have Eidei that he sewed it, that he weaved it. He was a weaver. He wove it. Ve'eidei Nefila, and Eidei that it fell from someone. Tinasin le'eidei Nefila, you give it to the Eidei Nefila. The Amrinon, we're going to say Zvune Zovna. It's good that he wove it, but then he went ahead and he sold it. And it fell from another person. Fell from another person. So again, the Gemara is going through various scenarios who would take precedence in requesting an aveda. Midas archai umidas rachbai. If one person claims that I'll give you the midah of its length, and the other person gives the midah of the width, tinasin the midas archai. Why? The midas rachbai shuri kamishayala kad machasila mara v'koi umidas archai loy mishtarla midah loy mishtarla. It seems to be, again, I'm not familiar with the clothing they wore, but it seems to me the clothing they wore, one was able to go ahead and evaluate it by looking at the person what the midah of the width was. On the other hand, the length you could not. You could not. I'll give it just a mushal in my mind thing out. A guy's wearing a pair of tzitzis over his beged, right? So you much easily can guess the length of the width of the tzitzis looking at it, rather than the length would be from one side going over his head to the other side. So the midas archai would take precedence over the midas rachbai in that scenario. Midas archai umidas rachbai. One person gives the midah of its length and width, umidas gamav, and the other person doesn't give the length and its width, but he gives the combination of the two, like gamma, like Bruce Banner, right? Like a gamma is like he gives a sum of what of the right. Yunasan lemidas archai v'rachbai. That seems to be that much more clearer than an obscure number such as a combination of the two. Midas archai, midas rachbai, midas mashkaloisa. One person gives the length and width, another person gives the length, the midah of its weight. You know, midas mashkaloisa, because the only way he's going to know that if it was in his possession. Okay, who amasi money haget? he says the simanim of the get. He oimeres simani haget, and she says the siman of the get. Who, guys, without cheating, who do you think gets it? Guys, who?
Does.
What? Why?
Because he had it, he wrote it. I mean, he knew
And how would she know it?
but she got it.
There you go. That's why you're an investigator, Harold.
But-
That's why the Baltimore Bridge wouldn't go down if you were on the job.
So,
You want to put
I'm afraid it would have hit a tunnel instead of a bridge if Hesh was on the job.
The bridge would have landed in the tunnel.
the bridge would have landed in the tunnel. Yeah, anyway,
There's nothing changed.
anyway, so very good schmuck. Heshi's saying very good. Guys, how would she know if she did, how would she know anything about the get if she never received it? He had it the whole time. He wrote it and everything. So he knows what it looks like. How is she supposed to know what it looks like? So obviously what? She knew. Very good.
Get had a standard,
The nusach, but she's given a siman in the get, Mendy. She's saying there's a hole in the get on this side of it. Yeah. No. She's giving a siman. She's giving a siman. She's giving a siman muvik. She's giving a siman. She's giving a good siman, not stammersly. Okay. Yinasin law. B'may Elema. Now, what siman is she giving? My Elema b'midas archay v'rachbay. Bendy's question. In other words, if you're just talking about an 8x11, right? It's Mendy's question, right? If you're talking about 8x11, good, Mendy. If you're talking about 8x11, so she could look at it and say, that's the standard size, right? That's the standard size. I could tell you guys that, you know what the size of this Sefer Torah is, the standard Sefer Torah? It's 48 centimeters. How do I know that? Because when I went to, I bought a Sefer Torah, the Atzei Chaim, they ask you what's the clock. So I asked the cipher, and that's what he told me. It goes standard of the old time Torahs. We have a new generation of smaller Torahs, right? They're by the way much more expensive, much more expensive. They're really expensive. So but he said 48, so 48 centimeters. That's what it is. Now, Ella nekev yesh by bitzad. Why did I answer you, Mendy? Ella nekev yesh by bitzad is pliny, right? There's a hole by the side of, and that's what our dialogue is. The Gemara's dialogue. Who amisimani hachot? What? It's not called cheating. It's called preparation. It's called while you're sitting there and I'm sitting here. Now it says the Gemara. Who amisimani hachot? Now let's say the get is sewn together and it has certain the string. So he says the siman of the chut. Simani chut. Yinasan law. You give it to her because how would she know the chut? Now, b'mai, we want to know what siman is she giving in the string, in the thread. Whether it's white or red. Maybe he never gave it, and while he's holding it, she looked. It must be right. It must be that she was able to tell you how long it was, and the only way she could know that is by measurement. He who oimer b'chafisa. So notice, even fellas, even if the cloth is a standard size, and you could ascertain orchay v'rachbay, a chut could be it could be doubled down, it could be shorter, so it's wide, it could be wrapped around it. In other words, you'd have to have any possession to go ahead wide and ascertain its size. Who oimer b'chafisa, that the get was you found in some type of chafisa, was some type of wallet or some type of canister that people would keep their stuff in. He gets it. My timer made the yada. She knows the chomash the islay b'chafisa who the manachle. The wife knows whatever he has, you're going to keep in the chafisa. So that's not a siman. That she knows that he's going to keep it in the chafisa, and therefore that's not considered a siman. Nice Gemara. It says the Mishnah. But masay chayav lahachriz. How long do you have to call it out? Again, there's a mitzvah shows aveda. What's the shelf life on that? You know, at which point in time could you say that you can keep it? And I was not over on the sukkah salim. I picked it up. I want to return it until when? You call out until the shchenim know. The Gemara will ask which one. The Remeya. Remeya is easy enough. We'll see who these shchenim are. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, and this is what we need for the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, shalish regalim, 3 regalim, the acha haregel achrin shivas yamim, and after the last regal 7 days. So 3 regal rishon, regal sheni, regal shlishi. Excuse me, and after the 3rd regal, what 7 days? Kidei in order. Shielach lebeisai shloisha. Person would have 3 days to go home to his house. V'yachzer shloisha. Go in the house and he'll see that whether it's lost, what he'll hear and evade the lost. Again, you're being oil regel. You bought something along the regel and you lost it, right? Now he wants to know, maybe I never took it along. I'll go home and check it out. And so 3 days to get home, a day to check it out, and shleishi v'yachris yom echad, and 3 days to return. V'yachris yom echad. Okay, so
where's the assumption coming from that this has an expiration date? This makes sense.
Right? I think that you can't have a person in oilam have a mitzvah. Again, at which point? But at which point in time? I mean, I have to. We're going to see that. We're going to see on the base. We're going to see that something that, let's say, a livestock is only X amount of time. There is a limitation on it. There's, in other words,
the Mishnah knows that, but where's that knowledge coming from?
I think the knowledge comes from that. We're going to see that a person you can't be matriach yosemidai. The way of the Torah is sweet. The Torah is not going to make you a mitzvah that you come to resent. I would answer you that. The way the Torah is sweet. Moshe is asking, where do you know there is a statute of limitations on? So
most mitzvahs don't
most mitzvahs, if it doesn't impact you over here, it's the recher dachinam. I'm going to have to go up to Yerushalayim every single time and call it out. Maybe 1 year I don't want to go. Maybe I don't want to go. Pana. So Rabbi said the shchenim aveda. My shcheni aveda until the shcheni aveda no. Ilem shchenim de bal aveda. Iyadale. If it's the shchenim of the guy who lost it, iyadale lezel lahachinel. Go ahead and return it to them. The shchenim of the one who lost it. So go return it to the guy, right? No, Mendy. If you're calling out until it's known the shchenim of the guy who lost it, right? If the guy who lost it, return it. It can't be the guy who lost it, they know. Ela shchenim makom shenimtzas ba. Shchenim of the place you found it, aveda. The svara being that maybe it belongs to them. Rashi says, shchenim makom shenimtzas ba aveda shema shalahem. Maybe what? Now the question is, what do you call out? This is guys. This is a shaila in the Rishonim. Just we'll spend a second. It says you're calling out. What do you call out? Look at Rashi in the Mishnah. Vayachros yom echad. Ani avadati. I lost it. According to Rashi, who's calling out, guys? The Bal Aveda. The Bal Aveda. Not I found something. I lost something. That's according to Rashi. The Rach, if you look at Rabbeinu Chananel, if you can find it, I have it on the bottom line. He says the Mishnah, he quotes the Mishnah, V'yachris yom echad, Pirish, that the one who hears the machris go back to his place. So who's calling it out? Obviously not the Bal Aveda, the guy who found it. So it's machlokes. Who's the machlokes between Rashi and the Rach? What?
Rashi knows the whole parak this one.
I think Rashi before might be problematic. Okay, and Makam, you're talking about the place. There's a steer in Rashi in place. When you say place, you call out. There's a steer in the place over there. Okay, right, guys. So who's calling out Shcheni Makam Shnim Sabai? Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says 3 regalim and 7 days after the regal. Now he gave a cheshbon, guys. What was the cheshbon? The cheshbon was 3 and 3 days to go, 3 days to come back. Meaning that a person could reach the outskirts of Eretz Yisrael in 3 days. Anyone who was Oil Regel could go home in 3 days. And we're going to have a problem based upon a Gemara and Tainus. Okay, or a minute. I'll ask you a stira. B'shloisha b'mar cheshvin, on the 3rd day of Mar Cheshvin, shoyel and esag shamim. You begin to say the same Alamat Levracha in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Gamliel Omer b'zayin boy, on the 7th day of Mar Cheshvin, esvam yoim acher hachag, right? The Chag ended on Chaf Beis Tishrei. And now 15 days after that, you're going to call it out. That that the person who lived farthest away would reach Nahar Plus, guys. So again, it seems to be it takes 15 days, not 3 days. That's the stira. It seems to 3 days. Yehuda Chaf Ches Amid Aleph. We just began the Gemara a few lines down. Okay. Rabbi Yosef. So we have a problem. What's the stira? Listen up, Yehuda. It says it takes an Eretz Yisrael to get to the farthest point. Our Mishnah says 3 days. We have a Mishnah in Tain that says 15 days. Well, how do you answer up to 2? So Rabbi Yosef like Kasha, Kan b'migdash Rishon, Kan b'migdash Sheni. B'migdash Rishon, Dinafisha Yisrael Tuva. There was a multitude of people. D'chsiv b'hu Yehuda v'Yisrael Rabim kechol asher ayom. It was like the sand of the sea. Leroiv, but inin kule high. You need 15 days. You need 15 days. A lot of traffic. The Migdash Sheni, the Nefisha Yisrael Tuva, the Chsibahu Kol HaKahal Ke'echad, Arba Riboy Alofim, Sholesh Meyas V'Shishim, 42,360. That's very few people, guys. In all Eretz Yisrael, 42,360 people. Leibin and Kulihai, 3 days does the job. So one teretz, guys, one teretz to answer, says Reb Yosef, when Eretz Yisrael, the Zman Migdash Rishon, then you needed 15 days, Migdash Sheni, only 3. And our Mishnah was speaking about Migdash after Migdash Sheni. It's speaking written after the Migdash Sheni. Amli Abaya v'kasiv v'yeshua kahanim elavim v'meshayrim v'shoirim v'chol Yisrael ba'areihem. Right, and they lived in the same cities as Bayis Rishon. Therefore, it's the same distance. They lived in the same cities. Therefore, it's the same distance. The kivin the hachi ha ifka mistabra. It's mistabra to say the opposite. Migdash Rishon dinafisha Yisrael tuva. The mitzvahs, this means the tzavas means the company. The tzvas alma, umishkache sheirasa, the asli ben yamon be'layla. You had tremendous greyhounds working. You had tremendous people. And therefore, you had roots with so many people, Routes. Therefore, it would take 3 days. Like, loy bin kulihai, the sagi betil siyomi. Migdash Sheni, the loy nefisha Yisrael tuva, there weren't too many Jews. Mitzvahs alma, and there was not a tremendous amount of company, and therefore you didn't find a tremendous amount of roots. The Asli that travel day and night, being in Kulihai, you need 15 days. So we have Chalukei Deis as to between Rabbi Yosef and Abaya. Rabbi Yosef says the 3 is going on Migdash Rishon. Abaya says the 3 is going on is Migdash. The 3 is going on Migdash Sheni. Migdash Sheni, less people. Abaya says no. The 3 is going on Migdash Rishon, where there were more roots going back and forth, and the 15 was according to Rabbi Yosef was going on when there was a lot of people, and the 15 was going on. Abaya was less people because there was less traffic and thus less routes. So Rava says a third opinion. Rava Amar loy shna Migdash Rishon, the loy shna Migdash Sheni, right? And the guys, no difference. You're right. It takes 15 days. It takes 15 days, but we don't care. After all, it's been called out for 3 regalim, right? He's called out 3 regalim. We gave the Baal Aveda ample time to figure it out. Now, you're going to wait till last minute to go 15 days here and there? No. Again, this guy has 3. He has 3 regalim to find it out. He's had ample time. Presuming that he's oil regel each time, he's had ample time to figure it out. So what? Now all of a sudden the Yotz wakes up and says, and it goes to 15 days there and says, no. You're not going to go ahead and be matriach the guy. Again, this is the svara of, again, what more can this person do? He called it out for 3 regalim. No one showed up. You get 7 days, and that is the statute of limitations. That's it. He doesn't have to call it out anymore. That's the answer to your question. He doesn't have to call it out.
It sounds like it takes 3 days. You could get home.
Huh? In other words, that's the distance that a person, but how much?
No, but according to Rob, we just didn't really say that line.
Okay. Moshe is asking, the lashon of the Mishnah is not mashma like that, like Rabbi. It says Kadesh Yelech the base of Shleisha b'Yachshel Shleisha. So in other words, it's mashma. That's Rashi simply says that she has to wait more than 7 days. I guess you have to say that. I guess you have to say a svara that a normal city where you could, they had to come up with a number. They had to come up with a number after the regalim, guys. I'm throwing this out literally on one foot. You're telling me now, after 3 regalim, really it should be over with. You gave the guy ample chance, 3 regalim. Now you're going to put a statue on. What are you going to put on? It's 7 days. Where did they come up with 7 days? So if you're going to tell him to go 15 days there and 15 days to come back, that's the Metzia die. So you came up with a number where a journey of 3 days, right? That's giving maybe a gavul that how much the matriach. That's the only way I can answer Ravara.
People are going from within 3 days.
Maybe, I don't know. It's a good kasha. Says Gemara Vaita. So we have 3 terutzim, right? Rabbi Yosef saying Migdash Rishon was in Migdash Rishon it was crowded. That was 15 days. We have Abaya said Migdash Rishon it was 3 days because there were a lot of caravans. We have Rabbi says there's no distinction between Migdash Rishon and Rishon Sheni. They weren't Matriach Yosef Midai. That was it. We have Moshe's kasha. Amravina Shmamina Ki Machriz. We're gonna have a shiloh in the Yom Blaze. What exactly do you call out? So Ki Machriz, Glima Machriz. You don't call out Aveda, you call out shirt. These Alkadaita Avedasa Machriz, because if you're gonna call out Aveda, but in La Mitfe Lechad Yuma, you're gonna have to give him an extra day, Yune Bimane, for people to check into what? I found an Aveda. So they're gonna have to check through all the things. Bishleim, a specific thing, then they'll see they have it or they don't have it. Mashenkem, if it's not a specific thing, it's going to take a longer period of time. Says the Gemara, Afilu Tema, you could even say, Afilu Tema Dasa Machriz, you could even say they're calling out an Aveda. In other words, so it's going to take a little longer. Guess what? The statute of limitation is this amount of time and not anything more than that. That's it. Says the Gemara, Tan Rabbanan. Regel Rishon, I'm a Regel Rishon. They say, guess what? First call. Regel Sheni Yama, Regel Sheni, second call. Regel Shlishi Yama, Stam. They don't say anything. I found Aveda, whoever's calling out, depending on whether it's Tarach or Vamai, Lema Regel Shlishi, right? So why didn't you say, just like you called out Regel Rishon and you call out Regel Sheni, call out Regel Shlishi? Says Gemara, Lo Yasi Lechluvi B'Sheni. If you call out Sheni, Shlishi, you may kind of mix it up with Sheni, and the person will think he has more time. Right? The Gemara Sheni Nami, by calling out Sheni Nami, Asi Lachlufe Barishain, will count to mix it up with the first one. That's the Gemara Hakasi Regel Shlishi. Okay, let him mix it up. The bottom line is, let's still have enough time. We'll have another regel to go ahead and find it. This was the lost and found, guys. This was the original lost and found. Shleish regalim, the achar regel, achar and shivas yamim. Mamish like passing like Rabbi Yehuda. Kadesh yelech shleisha v'yachs shleisha v'yachos yem echad. B'shechara beis hamikdash sheibana b'mheir b'yameinu. Isn't that nice? Beis hamikdash is destroyed, should be rebuilt in our days. What? Yeah. Hiskinu sheimachrizim b'bati knisiyos b'bati midrashiyos. Right now, where else could you call it out? They call it in Beis Medrash. They call it Beis Knesses. And when you had these unsavory people, the anasim, they increased. Hiskinu sheyamaydian l'shcheinav ulmeyuadav. Inform your what? Your neighbors and your close people to you. V'dayayin, that's enough. My misharabu anasim. Who are these unscrupulous people that you're worried about? The army avidasid l'malka. That anything that was found automatically goes to the king. So if you're going to call it out publicly, these anasim are going to take it for the king. So to avoid that, don't make such a public announcement. Make it more private. Ravami Ashkech Ujudinrei. Rav Ashi found a stack of gold coins, and Chazia Hahu Bar Nash, and or Bar Roy Ma'a, they call Mirsis. This Bar Ma'a saw, or this person saw that Rav Ami was scared. That in other words, he's going to say, "Give it to the king." So Amalei Zil Shkol Nafshecha. said, go take it for yourself. The lav parsoya, no, I'm a Roman, I'm not a Persian. And it seems that this is a Persian law to take it for the king. The Amr Avidas and the Malka, the Persians say the Aveda goes to the king, but the Romans did not. Eben Toya Hayibushalayim, there was a stone that was called a stone of the Toain, people who come to make a claim, the claims court, right? Hayibushalayim, Kol Misha Avdla Aveda, anyone who lost an Aveda, Nifl Lasham returned there. B'chol Misha Moitza Aveda Nifl Lasham, and anyone who found an Aveda would go there. This one would call it out, and this one would give the simanim, the nightla, and take it. The Meister guys with Chayni Amagal, when he went in the circle, he asked for the water. They said, how much water was it? Go see if the Evan Hatayin was melted down already from the water. So that was done in the old days.
Same like Iraq, not like Rashi.
Hmm.
Like Iraq, not like Rashi.
Right, mash like the Rat, not like Rashi.
The Rashi is, right.
There's the Mishnah. Amar Asa Aveda, Simanecha. It says what you found, but he doesn't say Simanim lo yitin lo, don't give it to him. But Haramai and people who are untrustworthy people, Afal pi shemasa Simanim necha, even if they give the Simanim, lo yitin lo, do not give it to him. Shenemar, Adroy Shachicha Oisoi, as we just saw in the Amar Aleph, Ashetidroy Shachicha im Ramai who remain a Ramai. Until you go ahead, right? Again, this was the source. If you want to say that Simanim Daraisa, this would be the source. Go check it out. Itmar, Rabbi Yehuda Amar. This is what we alluded to on the Amar Aleph, guys. Avedasa Machriz. He just says, Rabbi Yehuda says, you call out, I found something. Rabbi Nachman Amar Glima Machriz. You say this specific thing. Say this specific thing. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Avedasa Machriz. The Amit Glima Machriz. Kashina l'Ramai will be chayish for a Ramai. Nice Rashi, guys. Let's see Rashi. Chashin Ramai, the second thin line. Shema ha'oived misainin. This Ramai would hear that the person who lost it would be bemoaning bein shchenav among his neighbors. Halisi nevda, I lost my talis. This guy, this Ramai, who obviously lives near him, knows the siman of the talis. And when he hears the moitze going ahead and calling out a talis, matsasi, I found a talis. Right? Rashi says over here that it's the one who found it that's being machriz. Machriz is calling out, I found something, not saying that I lost something. You have to figure out the difference in Rashi, guys, right? Yokam v'yitin simanecha. Going to go ahead and give the simanim. Hilkach abidasei machriz. Therefore, be more vague and say, I found an aveda. And the Ramai is not going to go ahead and think about it to go ahead and say 1 second. So guys, you're making it easier for the liar to acquire this. If you say this specific, you say, talis, I found a talis. This Ramai had heard what? This person in the neighborhood saying, oh man, I lost my talis. I can't believe it. Right? I can't believe I lost it. And this guy, hey, said, this is great. The guy called out a talis, he goes to give the simanim and he gets it. Because he knew. But when a person says, I found something, and doesn't say what it was, so this person is not going to think, well, he was bemoaning about a talis. By saying the talis specifically, it's a one-step process. You're jarring him to lie. But where he doesn't call out anything, just generally says what? It's an Aveda, then that's why you call out Aveda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, and not Galima. Rav Nachman Amar, Galima Machriz, L'Ramai Lechashinon. Why? Then Cain ain't L'Davasayf. If you're worried about this, right, then there's no end in sight, says Rashi. The Hashtanami Masagadaite V'Amar, Im Talis Hi She Matsasa, Elu Samanecha. Anytime anything you call out, you'll say that these are the simanim. If you're chayish for a Ramai, there's no end in sight. If you're chayish for a Ramai, there's no end in sight. So therefore, even if you just call out an Aveda, you're still worried that this guy's going to say, oh, you found a talis, and here's the simanim. Tran. Amar Aveda, blame the simanim. Mishnah said, you say the Aveda, and you don't say the simanim. Don't give it to him. Very, very good. If you don't, you call that a general statement. I found an aveda hakamash balon. Afal gav the omar glima. Even though what he said a glima. Even though the guy says what the aveda is, I'm not going to give it to him. I'm calling out. I found something. The guy says it's what? It's a talis. What's a simanim? Garnished. I'm not going to give it to him. That makes sense. You called out aveda. He told you what it was. That's not enough of a reason to give it to him. Without the simanim, it's not enough of a reason to give it to him. If you're telling me you're calling out shirt, and this guy's coming along and Amar Ihu Glima, but Amar Ihu Glima, if the guys, what happened? If he calls out, I found the talis. A guy comes up and says, I lost the talis. And he doesn't give simanim. You need to tell me you don't return it? He said it. He said, I found the talis. He said, I lost the talis. Why in the world would you give it to him without simanim? Without simanim. So Ella must be, he didn't call out anything. And then you told him what? You told him, and it's a talis. And he goes, boy, you know what it is? Guess what? Even though you called it out, I'm not giving it to you at simanim. That's a chiddush. But to tell me that he went ahead and told you what you told him, that I found the talis and I lost the talis, and to tell me that he doesn't give the simanim, you're not going to return it, there's no chiddush in that. So it seems to be Rav Yehuda has a raya from the Mishnah, and we have a kasha on Rav Nachman. Rav Safra, lo'ilam glima machmas like Rav Nachman. Ama iu glima, va'ama iu simanim. Umay loy amar es simanecha. So what do you mean? Guys, here's the chiddush. Guys, listen. I lost the talis. I found the talis. Guys, look at me. I found the talis. I lost the talis. And you know what? The talis it's a little frayed a little bit on the kala. Or there's a kishka stain on something, right? Then you would think that you return it. Why? Because he's a simon mufakim, right? Loyama simanim mufakim. He didn't say that, when he says he didn't go over the simanim, he didn't go over the kishka stains. He didn't give over a chrein mark. He didn't give. He said, "Oh, does it have a keter sign on it? You ever see a talis? You get a talis with a little piece of paper that says keter talesim. That's not a simon muvik because keter talesim a doesn't. So when it says in a Mishnah, he doesn't give the simon, you don't give it to him, it means it not that he didn't give a simon. He didn't give the chrein simon. He didn't give the kishka simon. He didn't give a simon that's unique to this talis. He gave it general, then you're not going to return it. So even Rav Nachman, the Mishnah is not shver according to Rav Nachman, right? You're calling out a talis. The guy says, I found a talis and I'm giving you simanim. But when the Mishnah says you didn't give simanim, means you didn't give good enough simanim. You gave general simanim. Tan Rabbanan. Initially, a person will lose something, he'd give simanim and take it. When you have many of these unsavory people who lied, go bring Edim that, again, they didn't require you to bring Edim on the Aveda, right? But on the person now, that you're on the up and up. The toll. Go ahead and bring, when Misharabu Haramoyim, now you're going to bring Edim the Lav Ramayat, the toll. He had the Avur the Rav Papa, Irkis Lachamra, he lost the Chamor, and they found it. Also made the Rabbi Baravua, Rabbi Rapuna. Amalei, he told the father of Papa, Still Isi Sade the Lav Ramayat, go bring a raya that you're not a Ramai. Go bring a raya that you're not a Ramai. The tool and take it. The Ozil. So the tool. Ozil Isi Sade, the Avur of Papa went and brought Adim that he's not a Ramai. Amaluhu, he said to them, yeah, the Usun Bey the Ramaihu. So I guess Rabbi Baravuna said to these Adim, do you know that what? That he's a Ramai? Amalei in. Now, it's kind of, they could have asked the question in a different way, right? They kind of set him up. So Amalahu, so Avur the Rav Papa said to these Adim, Ana Ramai Ana? Amalei, they said to him, Ana Ramai at Karmina. We meant to say that what? That you're not. Now, we have a rule. Kivin shehigid shuv ein chayis v'magid. Once an aid says testimony, now, so are these aidim good or not? Is he a Rama or not? So I'm a Rabbi Rav Huna, mistabele maisi inish chayvasel nafshe. Guy's not going to bring. He's not going to be witnesses to be, to be detrimental for him. He's not going to be aidis to that. So therefore, we'll say that it was mistaken in the setup of how he spoke, saying that is he a Rama? Yeah, yes. No, we said it in the wrong way, and therefore they'll accept his aidis.
Do you know if he's a rabbi?